this computer and share, go back to Revit, share. So here we go. I'm gonna have to just go back, like it didn't even save what I did so far, so I'm just gonna have to go back and change a few things, but we hadn't really started anything. So I'm gonna start a new. Structural, okay. I'm gonna very quickly okay, so let me just go and put this here. Units, change this to. There we go. Okay, an eighth of an inch. That's good, that's good, that's good. And we were at, excuse me, we're at the north elevation. And this is where we're at. And of course, we had changed this to 102. And we had changed this to 91 feet, was it 91 feet 4 inches? I think we're pretty well back where we started. Is that okay with everybody?
Yep.
Oh, here, I made a mistake here. I'm gonna just change this back to 102.
Sorry, sir. Could you do one more time with the grid function so I can review it?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Could you do one more time with the grid function?
The grid or the level?
The grid.
We haven't done anything with the grid. Are you talking about the working grid?
Yeah.
I'll come back to that, okay? I'll come back to that, but right now I just, when we go back to a plan view, I'll show you how to do to do the grid again, okay? But right now I just wanna, now guys, like I said, remember what we talked about here, if you wanna.
Excuse me, sir.
Pardon?
Do we need to change the scale at the bottom?
Well, oh yeah, didn't I change it?
But I think we need to change for like every.
Oh yeah, for like, okay guys, for every view, I should have explained this, okay? For every view, okay? Now, if all of a sudden, okay, if all of a sudden, like you're gonna take this view and you're gonna drag it onto your sheet and make a drawing with it, you understand? If you know at what scale you're gonna make that view at on your paper, then you adjust the scale of this view right now. So this way you don't accidentally forget that, oh, I forgot to change the scale of my view, you understand? So here, for example, if I left it 1 to 100, if I would never plan to drag this view onto a drawing, it really doesn't matter. You follow? But what it does is that by adjusting the scale right away, all your annotations, all your text, everything else will be done into that proper scale for the scale that you will eventually drag it onto a worksheet and make a drawing with it. So that's why I'm trying to make you understand is that one of the things that you should never overlook is at what scale is your view, so that when you're ready to make a drawing with it, you have it at the right scale. That's all it is. And at the same time, by putting it at the right scale of the offset, all your annotations, in other words, all your leaders, all your text will be done accordingly. And this way, when you put it on the sheet, all of a sudden you won't get any surprises. That's what it is. So I didn't change it here because I'm not planning to ever draw this view on a sheet. But thank you for reminding me to explain that. So now what we're gonna do, okay, we're gonna create a few more levels, okay? And okay, first of all, let's go back to here, okay? Now, you notice that you have a little lock here, okay? This lock here means that these two lines are locked together, okay? So that means that when I want to move this line here, it will automatically move the one at the bottom. So therefore, I can move them simultaneously. The same thing happens to this side. If ever I want to move this over, because they happen to be locked, they both move at the same time. Now, if for whatever reason I want to just move the top one without moving the bottom one, I could unlock it, and then it will only move the top one. So that's what the lock does. So anything excuse me, anything that's lined up will be locked together, and therefore you can move them to simultaneously all together. If ever you want to move only one thing, you simply unlock it and you can move it, that one by itself, okay? Now, of course, because these things are no longer aligned, you don't see the lock anymore. Okay, that's what it is. Now, so if I want to bring this back here and I all of a sudden line it up with it, now these two become locked again. And the same thing I could do on this side. If I ever want these two to work simultaneously, I simply move this one over and these ones become locked again, okay? So that's what you can do. That's what the locks are. In other words, it locks any element that is interconnected or interrelated. And at the same time, if for whatever reason, okay, if ever you want to stagger this, you see this like a little break sign. If you click on that, it's going to stagger the symbol for you, okay? So, and then you can move it wherever you want. You understand? You can move it up, you can move it over. So sometimes like all of a sudden you have a whole bunch of them and you want to be able to get them out of the way. And if you don't want, you can simply, okay? So that's what that little symbol is about, okay? So that's the little symbol here. That's going to stagger them. And then, of course, if you don't want them to be staggered, you can simply put them back straight and so on, okay? So those are a number of things that you can do with these things. But, you know, this is just like if the things are getting really clustered and you want to move them over because they tend to overlap one on top of the other to make you can actually move them around. Okay, so now I've got two levels. Now, what I like to do is I'd like to create another level, okay? I want to create, for example, the lowest level of the foundations, okay? So that's going to be, if I look at my drawing, the lowest level of foundations would be at 88.33. In other words, it would be 3 feet below level. Okay, before I move on, let me just explain something, okay? So before we create level. Now, the other thing I like to do, you notice that, okay, if you look at the view browser, you have level one analytical. Analytical is for structural analysis. We're not gonna ever touch that. Level two analytical is for structural analysis. Now, I don't wanna have to remember, well, level 2 is 102, level 1 is 91 feet, 4 inches. So what I can do is I can click on this and change the name, okay? So here I'm gonna call it level 102 feet, okay? So therefore I know and then look at this. Once I click on this, the program asks, would you like them to rename in the corresponding views? In other words, you want the name to be changed in the view browser. Of course you do, you say yes. And now if you look at the view browser, that's no longer level 2, now it becomes level 102. So when I'm looking at the view browser and I want to go to that level, I can now know exactly which one to pick to get to level 102. So do that and then go ahead and change level 1 and change that to level. Now here it doesn't matter if you put 91.33 feet because it's just text. It's not an actual numerical number. So if you put 91.33 feet, and of course say yes. So if you've done that correctly, now here this level has a name of 102. So therefore, if I look at the view browser on the left-hand side, it has changed that to 102. And 91.33, it's also changed that to 91.33. So this way, when I look at my view browser, I don't have to guess what was level 2. Was that 102? What was level 1? Was that okay? I automatically can look at the names and know where I'm looking at in terms of levels. Now, what I'm going to do is click on the Structures tab, okay? And of course, now I want to create another level. So the other level I want to create is, for example, the top of the footing, okay, of the lowest footing. So I can work with that level. So therefore, I will go to this icon here, level, okay? And I'm going to click on that icon level. Is everybody there?
Yeah.
Okay, I only have one yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Now I'm going to click on that level. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hover over that point there, the end point. Okay. Now I'm going to drag down. I'm going to drag down. And I know that that level is 3 feet below. Okay, so I can either drag down to 3 feet on the screen, like this. Once I'm at, in other words, that's 3 feet. Or at one point, I can simply put 3, you notice, push enter, and it automatically put it at 3 feet. So it's up to you how you want to do it. And then I'm going to drag over to the right here, and I'm going to put it there. So that's going to represent the top of the foundation. That's going to represent the top of the foundation, excuse me, okay, of the lowest level. Now, of course, here, I'm going to press escape to get out of the command. So you press the escape button twice. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to rename it. I'm going to call it level, sorry, I'm going to call it level 88.33. And of course, I wanted the name to also change in the view browser. So now I've got 88.33, I have 91.33, I have 102. Now I'm going to create just 2 more levels for now, okay? And I think that that's going to be sufficient for the whole project. I'd like to sometimes create a level where I'm going to go to the deepest of my model, in other words, to the underside of the footing, okay? And the deepest underside of the footing is the one that's under footing F5 at the intersection of column 1D. And if I look at that, that is going to be at, excuse me, at level 86 feet 10 inches. I've already done the math for you. So now what I'm going to do, go back to the structures tab, and I'm going to create another level. And I'm going to go down by, excuse me, footing F5. I'm going to go down by 1 foot 6 inches. So 1.5, enter. And see, that's 86 feet 10 inches. That's exactly where I want to be. And I'm going to put it, well, anyway, somewhere where I'll put it here. Okay. And of course, now what I'm going to do is I want it to be a little bit, okay, just so to clear it up a bit so it doesn't interfere with that one. And now I'm going to rename this to level, excuse me, 86.8. 86, sorry, level 86, I'm sorry, 86.10 inches, 0.83. And of course, yes, I want it to correspond. So that's going to be the lowest I'm going to go onto my level. In other words, that's going to be the lowest where the concrete is going to be. Now, we don't have this right now, but the last project we're going to be doing, the very last project we're going to be doing is that we're going to, on top of the floor, we're going to be building a steel structure. And we're going to be putting that at level 114, the floor. So we can either do it now or we can wait until we do the last assignment. So we might as well do it now so we have all the levels created. So I'm going to go back to structures. And I'm going to create another level, okay? Again, I'm going to come here, I'm going to drag up, and that is going to be 12 feet above the floor, the ground floor, so I can put the value 12. Press enter, so it automatically snaps to 12, and that should be level 114. And of course, I'm going to change the name to level, oops, sorry. I'm going to change the name to level 114 feet. So now I basically created most of the levels I'm going to be needing to make my model. And this is where I'm going to start giving the information in terms of, you know, how high each element is going to be in my model. Does anybody have any questions so far?
Sir?
Yes, Jimmy.
In my project browser, it says ceiling plane instead of a structural plane. Is it making sense?
Sorry?
In my project browser, it says selling plan instead of structural plan.
It doesn't have structural plans?
Yeah, it says it's selling plans.
If you pick structural template, it should say structural plans.
Well, that's what I thought.
It doesn't matter, Jimmy, but as far as the levels go, do you have the right levels?
Yes, I do.
So it doesn't matter what the program calls it, understand?
Okay.
I don't know what version you're using, but you know, like this is why, you know, when I tell you, you know, try to get 2020.
Yeah, I got 2021.
Well, you see, maybe they modified it slightly, you understand?
Okay.
So, you know, Jimmy, like I told you, you know, it's like they keep making these little modifications and they might have changed the name. I don't know. So, but what's important, the name here is not important. What's important is that you have these values here. These should be all correct. Because if these are incorrect, from here on in, your model is going to be incorrect. And every time you do something, it's never going to work. So make sure that these are all correct. In other words, this is at 114. I don't care about the name. But this is at 114, this is at 102, this is at 91 feet 4 inches, not 91 feet 0.333 feet. This one's at 88 feet 4 inches, and this is at 86 feet 10 inches. That's what's important.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I'm going to do is, okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to a plan view, and of course, I'm going to look at view of level 102, because I'm not going to be working on 114 right now. So if I go to my view browser and I double click on level 102, of course it brings me back to the plan view. Everybody sees that?
Yeah.
So the view browser, it will instantly bring you to the views that you want to go to. Okay, thank you. Now, Jimmy, you were talking to me about the working grid, right?
Yes, sir.
So in other words, first of all, are you on the structures tab?
Yep.
You are on the structures tab. If you go all the way to the right, you see where it says set?
Yes.
Right next to it, there's a show, something called show.
Okay, I found it. It's in a smaller icon.
Well, Jimmy, so, you know, that's why. Now you're going to have to put up with the fact that we don't have the same version, you understand? And this is what pops up. So leave it on for now, okay? So guys, everybody turn on your grid. So this way, this is the working grid. It's got nothing to do. Now what we're going to do is, now that we've got our levels, so that we can place things, okay? You know, we can actually define the height of things. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be making the grid of our our plan view so that we can start placing the horizontal elements. So what we're going to do is we're going to start creating a grid, okay? So does everybody have their grid on, okay? Okay, so basically to create a grid, again, make sure you're on the structures tab. Well, let me just make sure I haven't skipped something in my notes. Yeah, everything's good. So we're ready to create a grid, okay? So we're on the structures tab. You'll notice that if you go back to levels, the level icon has been grayed out. Why? Like I explained before, because you can only create levels in elevations and in sections. You cannot use this command right here. Right next to it, you have grids. Now, whatever you see in parentheses, that's the keyboard shortcut. So if ever you want to use the keyboard shortcut, you just type in GR, you'll get the grid command, okay? So you click on grid, okay? Now, what I want you to do is, okay, stay out, like pick a point somewhere. We can move things around like AutoCAD. Pick a point at around here, right? Doesn't matter. Pick a point here. And then just go up vertically, make sure you're at 90 degrees and stop anywhere you want towards the top. Okay, so there's your first grid, okay? Now, I want to create a second grid, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hover over the bottom of the first grid. I'm going to drag it over, and you'll notice that I'm starting to have some dimensions showing, okay? Now, because my grid is at 4 feet, I cannot snap to 25 feet. because the next grid line is at 25 feet. So I'm simply going to put in the value of 25. Okay? Now, the program snapped to 25 feet away. I go up, and of course, I line myself up with the first one. I see the, I see that I'm lined up. I'm vertical, 90 degrees, click. Now, the nice thing about Revit versus AutoCAD, you'll notice that that becomes grid number 2. So I don't have to go change that, okay? Now, if I go back, I hover over the bottom and I drag over again. Now another 25 feet, so I will be putting 25, oops. $25, enter. I drag up, line myself up, and I've got grid number 3. Oh, sorry. I made a mistake. Grid number 2 was at 24 feet, right? So let me just change that to 24.
No, it's actually 25, sir.
No, between grid 1 and grid 2 is 24 feet.
Oh, yeah. Right.
I'm sorry, and this, I made a mistake. So I made a mistake, 24, enter. So now I'm at 24, okay? That's what I like. I'm showing you how fast it is to correct a mistake. Then I'm gonna go back to structures now. So I apologize about that. Go back to grid, go back to that command. Now this one's at 25. I'm gonna put 25, enter, go up, line it up so everything's nicely lined up, click, go back down, go over. I'm gonna let you guys have a chance to do this. 25 again, go up. And of course, one last one, which would be at 24. And of course, go back up. Okay, so far so good. So that I'm gonna give you guys a chance to do this. So take your time, and like I said, I made a mistake right at the offset. I was able to correct it right away, okay? And so you should have between 1 and 2 should be at 24 feet, 2 and 3 should be at 25 feet, 3 and 4 should be 25, and then 24 feet. Now, give me some kind of indication if you guys need more time to do this, because, and remember, the grid that you're creating is very, very important. Why? Because everything is going to be referenced with respect to the grid. Is everybody okay with this, or you want me to do it over?
Sir,
Yes.
I don't know why, but my grid function doesn't work.
Your what? The grid?
Yeah, the grid.
Like, are you talking about the grid that we're trying to create?
Yeah.
In other words, are you on the structures tab here?
Yes.
Okay. And you have the icon here, grid.
Yep.
And when you click on it,
Mm-hmm.
do you get where you can start your grid from?
I didn't see my grid.
What do you mean you don't see the grid? You're talking about the working plane grid or your
Yeah,
grid?
the working plan grid.
Well, that's because you zoomed in too closely. You have to zoom out.
Oh, it's still blank.
Well, like, is your working grid at 4 feet?
I don't know.
Okay, so in other words, if you click on the do you see the grid at all?
No, not at all.
Okay, is it turned on first of all? Do you have, like here, I'm gonna turn mine off. Mine is off now.
I turn it on, but it doesn't show the grid.
In other words, when you press on the icon here, the icon turned blue and you don't see your grid.
It's white. It doesn't turn blue.
This doesn't turn blue.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I said, Jimmy, I have no idea. You know, all I'm telling you is that that's the way the program is supposed to be working.
Can I share the screen with you?
You don't need to have the grid on. I'm going to turn off the grid. There, we don't need the grid. How's that?
Oh, okay.
Turn it off. We don't need the grid. You understand? The only reason I turned it on is that if you want the grid of your building to correspond with the working grid of the drawing, you can start with that on. You don't have to. I never use the grid. I'm just trying to show you that the grid is there if you want to use it.
Okay.
Okay, so you don't have to have it on. There, I've turned it off. Is that good enough? Now, have you created your vertical grid lines? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Not yet.
Okay, so do that because we're waiting for you now, Judy. Does everybody else have this done? Give me an indication, guys. Yes, no,
Yes.
good. Now, and Jamie, let us know when you're finished so that we can continue, okay?
Okay.
You're good?
Yeah, I'm setting the third line.
The fifth one?
No, the third one.
Okay, so keep going. You only have, do the third one, then do the fourth one, then do the fifth one. Okay, now guys, like I said, you notice I made a mistake at the very beginning. I put 25 feet between 1 and 2. What I like to do to make sure that I'm on the right track, everything is where I want it. If you look at the top ribbon here, the top menu, this is what they call the quick reference menu. You have measure between references. Does everybody see that? So if I click on that, I could measure between that line and that line. I have 24 feet. I can measure between this line and this line. So that's good. I can measure between that line. I have 25 feet. So I'm just double checking to make sure I didn't accidentally put in the wrong value. And now, of course, ultimately, if I want to check from this line to this line, I should have 98 feet. Everything is good. So therefore, I'm happy with the distances, okay? Now, just like we did with the levels, okay, if I pick a grid, if I want to have the bubble also on this side, the same thing as the levels. I click there, I will get the bubble on both sides, okay? And the same thing with this lock button. Since they're all lined up here, if I decide to move one grid line, they all move together at the same time. But if I want to move only one, of course, I would have to unlock this and move that one individually. So that's what the lock does. It unlocks this with respect to everything else that's in line here if I want to keep them all together. So the same thing as what we did the levels, you can do with the grid lines. So now, excuse me. Oh yeah, so I better take this off. I don't want that. Okay, are we ready to construct the horizontal grids? Is everybody okay?
Yes, for me.
Yeah, thank you, Yavor. At least I got one yes.
Yep.
Or just put it this way, is somebody not ready to do the horizontal grids? No? Okay, so now, again, make sure you're on the Structures tab. Make sure you click on Grid. So now, pick a point wherever you want, okay? Just, you know, leave yourself some room. You know, you can move these anytime, but if you look at your drawing, you're gonna have to make room to be able to put that little wall in your dimension. So be reasonable where you want to do it, but you can always move this at any time. You pick a point, you drag it over, make sure you're at 90 degrees. Okay, I'm horizontal. There you go. Okay, now before you, what I want to escape, guys, if ever you want to get out of a command with Revit, you have to hit the escape button twice. Okay, escape gets you out of the command. Escape gets you partially out of the command. Now I want people to zoom in here, okay? Now you notice that it put grid line number 6. You don't want a 6 there. You want an A. So you click on the 6 and then change that to an A. In other words, double click on the 6 and change it to an A. Click outside the box. Now that 6 has become an A. Now I'm going to zoom out again. I'm going to zoom out to about here and I'm going to move up. So this way. Now, what's nice about Revit, okay, is that once I've changed that to an A and I'm ready to create my next grid line, so I'm going to go to grid, hover over this point, go down to 24 feet, move over, and look what Revit does automatically. It changes the grid line to a B. Isn't that nice? Then of course, if I go back here, hover over this point, drag down another 24 feet, and drag over, it becomes a C. So that's what's nice about changing that right away. So this way I won't have to go back and edit the 6, 7, 8, 9 to A, B, C, and D. And last but not least, one more time, drag down. Like I like to put the value so I don't have to worry about being precise. 24, enter, and now I've got my D, okay? Now, so now I've created my grid, and of course I should go back and check. Okay, save the project. I'm going to call it a class assignment. Let me save my project. E. Dawson drawings. Okay, so I saved this. So this way, if ever when we're going to come back, I'll be able to pick up from where we left over. So, okay, so like I said, guys, before I move on, I always like to double check to make sure I haven't made a mistake with my, okay. So now, I like to go back and check my dimensions. So I'm going to check my dimensions from here to here. I have 72 feet, so far so good. And of course I should have 24 feet in between. So there's 24, so everything checks out. So guys, do yourself that favor. Always double check to make sure that you know, like everything's correct, because the computer uses all this information in order to do its calculations. If something is off, you can ask yourself, why isn't it working? Why isn't it working? Well, because the reference that the computer is using is not exactly what you think it is. So always double check that. Okay, now, there's a few things I want to talk about grid lines, okay? Just like we did with the working grid, I want everybody to click on highlight grid line number 1. And of course, if you highlight it, okay? You highlight it. Now, look at the properties palette, okay? Well, right now, this is grid with a 6.5 millimeter bubble, okay? Now, if you pan out, you have a number of options, okay? You can customize your grid. So this is how you customize the grid. Now, what it means by customizing the grid is that if I want to see this to be a solid line, I move this down like this, and now all of a sudden I've customized this grid. So that's customizing. Now I'm going to click on this again, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. I'm going to go back here and I say bubble with a gap, okay? So I'm going to click on this. And I'm going to adjust where I want the gap. So I want the gap to start about here. And then here, I don't want to see the grid line at all on this side. So therefore, I'm going to take this drag point and drag it all the way down to here. If I press OK, enter, look at that. I don't see the grid line. I don't see it, but as far as the program goes, it's still there. So whenever I want to snap to that grid, the program will recognize it. The only difference is that when I will drag this sheet, this view into my sheet, that's the way I want it to print, okay? So that is bubble with a gap. So now I want you guys to adjust axis A, axis 5, axis D to bubble with a gap. See if you can do that properly, okay?
Can you do it again?
Yeah, I will. You might will. But you like these little things that you can do with Revit? Okay, so I'm going to do number 5 for you. Okay, so in other words, what you do basically, escape. Oh yeah, guys, with Revit, you first pick the element or what instance that you want to work with, then you go do the commands. With AutoCAD, it's the other way around. You do the command and then you pick the stuff you want to do with. With Revit, it's the other way around. So here I want to do something with axes. I pick the axes. I tell the program what I'm working with. Then here you'll see the properties palette has changed. And here underneath here is where you have the 3 choices. So I call this out and I say I want to create a grid line with a gap. And of course here you see I have a drag point. I will drag that point down to about there. This point I will put it right into that circle so I don't see it at all. Press click and it's gone. And like I said, the grid line is always there. So when you're going to snap to it, it's going to be there. So this way, like I said, now A and D are the same thing. So click on A and adjust A. Again, bubble with a gap. Okay. So I'm going to adjust this drag line to about there. I'm going to pull this one into the circle so I can make it disappear. And there she goes. I mean, the dot is there, but you won't see it when it plots your drawing. And of course, we should do the same thing with D. Okay, so now I've adjusted my grids, okay? And as a matter of fact, I'm going to be adjusting these later on when we get down there. So right now, we'll just leave it the way it is. So is everybody good with that? So like I said, the properties palette is the most, as far as I'm concerned, is the most important thing in this drawing because this is where you get all the information you need to put into the program so you can get the results here that you want, okay? That's the properties palette. Of course, the view browser allows you to go to anywhere in your model at any time. That's what the view browser does. Is everybody good with that?
Can you redo it?
Do which one? Bubble with a gap?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll do this one, then I'll undo. Like I'll do this one here. How's that? Okay. So first you do is you highlight it. Did you highlight yours?
Yeah.
Okay. Once it's highlighted, go to the properties palette.
Okay.
Now, underneath here, you don't see it, but there's a little triangle here that you can fly out the drop-down menu, okay? So when you did you drop down the menu?
Yeah, and we select bubble gap.
You start with bubble with a gap, you understand, bubble gap. Now, these are your drag points here, you see? See the blue one? So I'm going to drag it, and as a matter of fact, it even tracks it for me if I'm in line. You understand? If I want to keep it in line with that one, and if I want to get rid of the line completely, like, look, I'm going to leave that there for now. So if I leave that point there and I press OK, enter, look, it created a gap between those 2 drag points. You see? Now, okay, so that's what it does. Now, since I don't want to see it on this side, I simply drag it into that point, and it's going to end up being like you see here. That's the point of the grid line right there. And there's one right there, but this is so small that when you're gonna be plotting, you won't even see it. So is that okay? You feel comfortable now with it?
Okay, now I understand. Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm gonna undo this because I don't want that to be, okay. Okay, so now we've got, now look, so let's go back and everybody hit north elevation, okay? And you see, well, there's your grids. You see them also. Now, of course, because I created a gap here, it's also a gap here, okay? But you have your grid lines, okay? Now shown in the elevation. So go back to level 102, okay? So now we've basically set up our grid and we're ready to start modeling. So what we're gonna do is, okay, we're gonna start putting in the wall, okay? In other words, we're gonna start by putting the general wall in and then we'll work out the other smaller walls. So basically, if you guys understand what I'm saying, is that we wanna put in the overall wall in here, okay? So guys, with AutoCAD, remember, information is what you need to put in the wall. And if you don't put in the correct information, you will never get the wall put in correctly, okay? So what you need to know is the wall starts at what level? It goes down to what level? How do you want the wall to be placed? And so on and so on. What type of wall you want to be placed, okay? So let's just start, first of all, so the category that we're working with is walls. So everybody's under the category walls here, right? So open up wall. And of course, we're going to be putting in a structural wall, right? Now, right now, I'm going to, and these are all the structural walls that I have already, the families of structural walls, or the type of, sorry, this is the type of walls that I have already built into Revit. Now, I'm going to have a concrete foundation wall here. Now, of course, because I downloaded the Canadian version of Revit, it gave me the imperial one, and therefore I only have, the metric one, I only have metric values, but that doesn't matter. I can change this anytime. So I'm gonna pick foundation 300 millimeters. Okay, so I want everybody to pick foundation 300 millimeters. Now, of course, I do not want 300 millimeters, I want 12 inches. So therefore, what I'm going to do, I'm gonna repeat this. Pull down the menu, go down to foundations 300 millimeters. Is everybody there? If somebody's not there, just say, I'm not there. Because,
Which wall did you pick?
pardon?
Which wall did you pick when you dropped down to wall?
Well, like, first of all, let me start all over, okay? Are you on the structures tab?
Yeah,
Are you in the wall category?
yeah. I just don't know which one to pick.
Now, you want to pick, the family you want to pick is structural wall.
Okay.
Sounds good?
Yeah.
Structural wall. Now, on here, you have different types. Now you're in a family, you're going to the type. Now, if you fan down, you're going to see down here, foundation 300 millimeter concrete.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so you pick that one, okay?
Well, I have it in inches, so it'd be 12 inches.
So you don't have to change anything. Leave it like that.
But in inches, right?
Yeah, if you have it in inches, don't change it. I'm showing the ones that don't have it in inches how they can change it.
Okay.
Okay, so you don't have to do anything. You just leave it like that. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell the computer, edit this type of wall. So what I'm going to do here is that right below it, you see edit type. Okay, edit type. And this is the menu that pops up. Does everybody have this menu?
Yes.
So we're all good? Now, if I want to keep this type, I will not edit it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this type and I'm going to duplicate it. So I want you to press duplicate. Duplicate. Now, the name is for you to remember what type it is. So therefore, what I'm going to put in here in the name, I'm going to be putting 12 inches. and I'm going to remove the 2 because I don't need it. That's just a name. So I could, every time I go back now, every time I go back into that family and I look at types, I will see 12 inches. I know I'm talking about this wall. Press OK. And of course, now I need to edit. So I'm going to edit. Everybody sees where the edit button is. Edit. I click on the edit. And where it says the thickness here, I'm going to change 11.13/16, which is 300 millimeters. I'm going to change it to 12 inches. If I change that to 12 inches, at the bottom I press OK. And now if you go back, you'll see the width of the wall 1 foot. Now everything else is good, whether it's metric or imperial, it's concrete, it's got this heat transmission, everything stays the same. So I don't have to go change anything there. Once I'm happy with it, I'm going to press OK. So now, if you look at the properties palette, I am ready to place a 12-inch foundation wall, right? Now the question is that where do I place it? Well, I know that I want the top of the wall, the top constraint, okay, the top constraint to be level 102. Everybody understands? Because that's the top of the wall. So here in the properties palette, the top constraint has to be level 102. Now, how far down do I want the wall to go? Well, I know I want that wall to go to level 91 feet 4 inches. So I want the bottom constraint to go down to 91.33. So now I'm telling the program, take this level and go down to this level. So that's the information it needs, okay? As far as offset goes, I don't have to offset from these levels. That's exactly where I want to go. Therefore, this should be 0. So far, what I've done is I told the program where I'm placing this vertically in my model. So I'm placing the top at level 102. I'm placing the bottom at level 91.33. That's where I want it to be. And that's the height of my wall. So that's what the program's going to use to do its calculations. Now, how do I want to place a wall? Okay, there's a number of ways that the wall can be placed. And here is the wall location, okay? You can do it from here. So you can place it with the wall center line. In other words, if you want the wall to be centered where you're placing it, half on one side, 1.5 the other side, that's center line. Then there's finish face exterior, finish face interior. Then there's core face exterior, core face, because some walls have an exterior, are made up of 2 or more compositions, so therefore it gives you that option. Now, if you look at the drawing, you notice that the inside face of your wall corresponds to your grid. So you want the program to place the wall with the finished interior face. So what you would pick is the finished face interior. So now, don't worry if you made a mistake, I'll show you how to correct that. So now you're almost ready, okay? So location, okay, is finished face interior. Okay, now, and don't worry about that. Now look, I am going to accidentally choose the wrong one. Okay, you guys don't do this, but I will do this, and I'll show you how easy it is to correct that afterwards. But every time you do something, you're wasting time, right? So, okay, if you happen to accidentally take finish face exterior, I'll show you how to correct that. So right now, like I said, I look at the properties here and make sure all the information regarding the properties of this instance, it's going to become an instance because I'm going to be placing it, is where I want the wall to be. I want it to start at 102. That's what this is here, 102. That's good. I want to go down to level 91.33. That's good. I want the program to place it, when I draw it, I want to put the inside face of that wall along the line that I draw, where I'm placing it. That's good. And I'm ready to place my wall. So guys, with Revit, information is key. If you don't have the right information, or if you put in the wrong information, it will be done incorrectly. Now, once I set all the right information in the properties palette of what I want to do with this instant or this type, what I'm going to do is, if you see where I'm pointing, these are your drawing options. You can draw segments, lines, you can draw rectangles, you can draw these. So these are all your drawing tools. Now, since I'm drawing a rectangle, of course, I will be picking this drawing tool here. Okay, I pick that one. Then what I do is I come down here, and of course, I want that inside corner to be right there. So I'm going to click there, and I'm going to drag out, and I'm going to go to the other corner where the two lines intersect. See, I want to make sure that I'm right there. And then, if I'm happy where I placed it, 72 feet, that's what I need. And of course, 98 feet is what I have, because after that, it's going to be at 100. Everything looks good. I'm happy with it. Press the escape button. I'm done. Okay? So there's my wall. It doesn't look like much, right? Now, if
Sir?
all of a sudden, yes,
Could you do it one more time?
I will. Let me just, first of all, did you get all the information correctly with regards to the properties?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so I'm going to delete this. Okay, well, when I go back, I want to explain one thing. With Revit, the Revit does the same thing that AutoCAD does when it comes to select elements, okay? So if I want to pick one element, I can simply pick one element, okay? Then I can also pick elements with a window. In other words, it will only pick the elements that are completely within my window. So that's window. Window goes from left to right. And then if I want, I can also pick by crossing. Crossing is from right to left. So I'll draw exactly the same rectangle, but the difference is that with crossing, everything gets picked. So you do the same thing with Revit. You can, and then if you want to pick one or two elements, you pick one element, you hold down the control button, you pick another element. You hold down the control button, and you can keep just adding by holding down the control key, okay? Then if all of a sudden you want to remove one of them because you picked it by accident, you hold down the shift key and you go back, and the shift key will remove what you've picked. So control adds, shift removes. Can you remember that? And that's what, and like I said, and if you want to pick with a window, you draw a window, whatever's in the window, it picks it. And if you want to draw a crossing, whatever's in the crossing, it picks it. So crossing means anything that crosses that rectangle, it will get picked. Window, only anything that's completely within the window will get picked. And that's how AutoCAD works also. Of course, they're both developed by the same company, Autodesk, and that's why they work that way. Okay, so Jimmy, to go back, I'm going to now pick this. I'm going to delete it. So I'm going to go back to wall, structural wall, 12 inches. So there's my base constraint 91. That's okay. Finish facing. So all my properties stay the same because it keeps the last values by default in its memory. Then Jimmy, you come up here, you see where your drawing tools are?
Yes.
So pick the one that has a rectangle.
Okay.
So pick that one. Then go find the intersection of your two axes. You see there?
Yes.
Pick a point. Then drag out. And go to the other corner and find the intersection of the other two axes. Okay? Once you pick the 2 points, AutoCAD draws the wall for you. You press escape and you're done. Now guys, what I'm going to do at this point is, what's nice about Revit, you see at the top here, you see the little house. Everybody sees that, where I'm pointing at? Click on that button. And you can automatically see your model in 3D. There's your model in 3D. Of course, there's not much here because we just started to create it, but that's your model in 3D. Now, if, I gotta get rid of this here. Sorry, I gotta move this over, okay? Now here you have your cube that you can rotate your model on a particular view. So if you click on the cube here, it turns it around for you. You can start seeing different views of it, okay? You wanna see at the bottom, you wanna see at the top. So that's the cube, that's the view cube. You can also have a wheel that you can drag out, okay? And the wheel, of course, you can orbit. You can look at it upside down. Anyways, guys, play with it, it's fun. You'll see, it becomes more fun when we have more in the model. So you can orbit it, and when you're done, you just, okay, put it back. And of course, what I like to do is I always like to keep it so that I know what I'm looking at, and therefore, okay. Now, this is right now showing to you in wireframe. If you want to change that, if you go down to the bottom here, where it says view style, okay, you click on that, and you can have shaded. You can see it shaded. If you want to have it as real constraint, if you want to see it as realistic, you can have it as realistic. If you want to see it as constraint colors, you can have it like that. And if you want to see it as hidden lines, you can have it like that. So that's the number of choices you have. Okay, so it's up to you how you like to see your model. Okay, you can have it as shaded. And now, if, let me just put this back here.
I have a question.
Yes, you may.
I don't know why, but my wall says that it's 73, like in height, when it should be 74. And I looked at the spacing in between my A, B, C, D, and it's 24 feet. So I don't know why I wrote it wrong.
Your wall is 73 instead of 74?
Yeah.
Okay, Emmanuel, what we're gonna do is, well, you're gonna have to share me your screen and I have to look at it, you understand? But you're telling me, okay, so let me go back to elevation 102, okay? Oh, one last thing, okay? If ever, it's up to you guys, if ever you wanna see your 3D and all your other views at the same time, like close this one here, you don't wanna see the north elevation, okay? If ever you wanna see this all at the same time, make sure up here you only have these two views open. If you go to view, okay, if you go to view and here you have view tile, well, you can see them both simultaneously at the same time, see? So you can tile both views and you can have as many tiles as you want, the more views. So that's, okay. And that's how you can view everything at the same time. I don't like to work that way. Some people do, so this way they automatically see what's happening in 3D. And of course, if you don't want to see it in tile view, you just click that back. And you can also change, for example, how you want, when you click out, which view you want to go back to when you click out of it. So you want to go back to this view. So every time you click out of there, it will automatically go back to the view that you want. So that's another option that you have with Revit. You can have multiple views at the same time on your screen, so you can see it. You know, sometimes you might want to see the plan view, the 3D view, and the cross section all at the same time, and you can do that very easily. But now let's just now, Emmanuel, you're telling me that when you're coming here and you're measuring from here, in other words, when I'm measuring from this endpoint to that endpoint, you don't have 74 feet. Is that it?
Yeah, I don't know where I went wrong. So basically,
well,
it's finish face in, right, for the wall?
So say what?
It's finish face in for the wall, right?
Yeah, but okay, now let me show you something, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Does the inside finish face here correspond to your axis on all four sides?
Hold on. I deleted my entire wall, so I'm gonna just...
Oh, you shouldn't have done that. I could have shown you how to modify
Oh,
it.
okay, I'm sorry. I was just like,
okay. I'm glad you did. It's good practice. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Now, guys, let's say you had automatically picked exterior wall. I'm going to show you something. Let's say you had picked exterior wall. Of course, what Revit would have done, it would have done the exterior wall along here and would have put everything on the inside. Now, if you did that, the simple way of correcting it, like for example, if I click on the wall, okay, you see these little arrows here? Well, these arrows will flip the wall. So in other words, if I click here, that wall is going to go from inside to the other side. So if you accidentally did it the other way, you can just flip the walls over. So therefore, you just flip here, and now it goes back to where it is. So if you had accidentally forgotten about, oh, I forgot about that properties in the properties palette, and I already drew it. Well, you just flip the walls, okay? And each wall has that feature, okay? So you can flip the walls anytime. So that's what we're gonna do for you, Manuel. Find the one that is not.
It's all good.
Huh?
It's all good. And the measurement, maybe that's what it is. The measurement of 73 that I get is from the middle of the wall to the middle of the wall.
Yeah, be very careful because look at this. See, right now I have 89 feet, right?
I have 100.
And it's really 100, but here I know that it goes from here to here. The best way to check all the time, Emmanuel, go to the material, go to the measurement icon on here and measure it that way. Don't rely to what you see on the screen, you understand?
So now I see 101.
Now you see 101.
Yeah, do you have 101?
No, I have, like if I do dimension from this endpoint, oh, you mean this way?
Yeah, well, that one I have 101 and the other one I have 74.
I have exactly 100 feet.
Okay, so I must have messed up somewhere.
Now look, Emmanuel, just check, for example, check to make sure that the spacing of your grid lines are right. In other words, 24, 25, 25, 24. That's the first thing you should check.
Okay, yeah, I messed up somewhere. The first one I put 25 instead of 24.
Which one?
The in between 1 and 2.
Okay, so that's where you put 25. It was my initial mistake, and I forgot to tell you to correct it, okay?
Yeah, so how do so basically like my outside wall,
Yeah.
like on the left hand side is out of 1. Do I have to redo the entire thing or can I just move it?
Well, I mean, there's a number of things I could show you to do, but right now I think the best thing to do is fix your grid because that's going to be affecting everything else that you're going to be doing with your model.
Yep.
So in other words, take this, right? Like, so in other words, right now you have 25 feet here.
Yeah, so I fixed
and
it.
you have 25 feet here, you got 25 feet here, and you got 24 feet here. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so then I just changed the measurement.
No, do this. Listen to me. Right now you're telling me you got 25 here between this one and this one?
Yep.
Then you got 25 here, you got 25 here, you got 25 here. I mean 24 on the last one.
Last one I got 24.
So in other words, what you want to do is you want to shift everything over by a foot.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So in other words, what you do is do this by crossing. Do a crossing like I'm doing on the drawing right now. Pick a point. Sorry. Do a crossing, okay?
Yeah.
Pick those 3 axes. Is 2, 3, 4, and 5 highlighted? In other words, are they blue?
Yeah.
Just that is blue, right? Nothing else, right?
Yeah, it's blue.
Then you see here where I'm pointing, that's the move command, just like in AutoCAD. So say move, okay? So just pick a point anywhere. Pick here, anywhere, okay? Pick that one, show the direction, and just put 1 foot. Enter. Oh, I shouldn't have done it to mine, Sam, but that's
then
okay. Don't worry, man. I know how to correct myself very quickly.
Yeah, so I did that, but then the exterior wall on the right side is off. So
Yeah, but don't worry. Now you can redraw your wall very quickly.
Yeah,
because
okay.
the grid is correct. Understand?
Yeah, I'm just gonna delete it.
Because everything in your properties palette should not have changed. It keeps everything that you put in there for the last type that you've modeled. Understand?
Yeah, let me make sure that everything's good.
Now you see how fast I'm going to correct mine, Emmanuel? I'm just going to undo.
Yeah, it's a bit faster than me.
Okay, so that's where your problem. So that's why it's very important. Like I said, always first thing I do is when I put my grid, I religiously check the dimension between each grid line, the overall dimension, because everything is going to get referenced with respect to this grid. Okay. There, that's very good. Pardon?
It's all good now. Thank you.
Okay, so now did you go see your wall in 3D? It looks good.
I didn't.
Anyways, we'll be going back and forth to 3D. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Okay, so guys, was that nice? Easy to do? Is everybody okay with that? Who hasn't been able to put in the wall correctly? Don't be shy, guys. Now's the time to say it.
Me, sir.
You weren't able to put in the wall.
Well, it says the wall highlighted is overlap.
You have 2 walls that you drew accidentally?
I don't know.
So delete everything and start over.
Okay.
Because you might have drawn it twice and all of a sudden you're overlapping two walls in your model that you can't see. You understand? So delete, like, do this, Jimmy. Make a window, start from here. Make a window like this, okay? Make sure you make a window around the whole thing except your grid, and then hit this up here, delete, or hit the delete button. It's gonna erase everything. So if you accidentally put two walls, it's gonna erase both of them.
Okay.
And then once you've done that, go back and redraw your wall. Okay, so now we'll wait until Jimmy has a chance to fix his model. Oh, wait a second, guys, it's 3 o'clock. Break time. I think we all need a break. So how long of a break do you guys want? Give me an idea, please.
I just have a quick question again. Is it normal that on my 3D view it looks kind of off? Like I checked all of my measurements, it's all good, but on the 3D view it looks like not.
Oh, like in other words, if you look at your, I'll go to my 3D view. This is what mine looks like.
Because me, I have, for my 3D view, I only have analytical model. Analytical model. That's the only way I can do it. Did you add a 3D?
You have an analytical model in your 3D view.
Well, I don't have 3D. The only thing under 3D views that I have is right above.
No, like here,
Mm.
for your 3D view, look at my screen, Emmanuel.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
See the top express menu here? Click there.
Okay.
Click there. And that will bring you to your 3D.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it looks good.
Looks good, right? So
Yeah.
every time, like I don't even bother with the view browser for the 3D. I always go up here. Now, if you'll notice, once you pick 3D, Emmanuel, if you look here along this line here, all the views that you open are all going to be there.
Yeah.
So then you can just click there and it'll automatically bring you to your 3D. Click there, brings you back to my 102.
Okay.
That's the thing about Revit. They give you too many options and it's only confusing. Well, this is good because this is what opens up all the different tiles when you want to see multiple views at the same time, and it tells you how many views you're going to have. So that's why they do this here, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so break time. How long of a break do you guys want? Nobody wants a break? I'm getting no answers, guys. So
I don't know, sir. Maybe max 20 minutes.
as you wish, Christopher. Do you need to? I like to give you guys at least 15. Is that good? This way, people that need to catch up, they have a chance to catch up. And how's 15 minutes? Sounds good. How about if we come back by 3:15?
Sounds good to me.
That's great, sir.
Sounds good. So at 3:15, we'll come back and we'll resume. Okay. So in the meantime, I'm gonna pause the recording. I'm gonna stop sharing here. I'm gonna pause the recording, and I will share my screen. Okay, so far so good, guys. Everybody had a chance to breathe a bit, okay? Now, once we put in the walls, right? What we're gonna do is we're gonna put in those columns. Let me just see. Okay, so we're ready to put in some columns, right? So basically what we're gonna do now is go to the Structures tab. Everybody's there. Of course, the category is columns. So I'm gonna pick that category. Now in the columns, like these are steel columns, these are the families. And I'm gonna take a concrete column. So I'm gonna take this one, and then of course I'm going to edit it to what I need. So I'm gonna take any one here. I'm gonna take this one here, 300 by 350. Now, for those of you that already have it in Imperial, you're still gonna have to edit the type because I don't think you have one that's 16 inches by 16 inches, right? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go edit the type, okay? just like we did before. Now, if you want to keep this column for whatever reason, you can keep it. If you don't want to keep it, you can just edit it. So like if you want to keep it, you can duplicate. If not, you can just say rename. Let's say I'm never going to use this column in my project, so I'm going to rename it. I'm going to call it 16 by 16. 16 inches by 16 inches. That's just for me to remember what this type is. Press OK. And of course, this is where I change the value. In this case here, the B dimension, in other words, the width of the column is going to be 16 inches. And the height of the column is also going to be 16 inches. So therefore, I'm just going to change this to 16 by 16. Now that I've changed the dimensions, everything else is going to be a concrete column and so on and so on. I press OK. And there, now you're ready to place this type of column. Now, if you look along here, you'll notice that you have a number of ways of placing columns. So what you're going to do is you're going to tell the program, I want you to place the columns at the grid lines, okay? But before you place anything, what you have to make sure of, and I purposely did this so that you realize that you don't go right away and place things. You worry about your properties palettes here, okay? In other words, where in the vertical direction are you these types going to be placed? So what you're going to do is you're going to come into the properties palette, okay? Okay, where's my, where is the stupid, okay, so basically I want to, sorry guys, I'm just going to do something here. Oh, sorry. Properties, okay. So I'm going to put in some columns. That's the column I want to put in. And I want to start at level 102. That's where I want to start. Okay. Now, I want to place the columns at the grid lines. Okay. So now, what's going to happen is I'm going to pick one grid line here. Okay. I'm going to hold down the control button. I'm going to keep picking grid lines. So in other words, I'm going to pick another grid line. I'm going to pick another grid line. I'm going to pick another grid line. Pick another grid line. So right now I picked all the vertical grid lines. Now you haven't seen anything yet because I haven't picked any horizontal ones. As soon as I pick the first one, the program will automatically put those columns in. When I pick the second one, the columns will go in. When I pick the third one, the columns will go in. When I pick the fourth one, the columns will go in. And once I've placed all my columns, I go back up where I see this green check mark and I say finished. And there you go. So now I press escape. I go to my 3D view. There are all my columns that I've placed in my model.
Can you do it again?
Sure. But how far back do you want me to go, Emmanuel?
So I don't know how you, because if I click control, I think I missed a step. Basically,
Okay.
I have my 16 by 16.
So you do have your 16 by 16 column, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to undo. I got rid of my columns, okay? So you do have your 16 by 16. So I'm going to go back to columns, right? I still have my 16 by 16, right? First of all, make sure you're on level 102. Is that where you're at?
Yeah.
And make sure here you see depth. In other words, they're going to be placed downwards. Okay?
Yeah.
They're going to be placed downwards to level 91.33. Okay, so that's how you define the vertical values for your column. Is that okay? I could have started at 91.33 and put upwards, but I like to work downwards, you understand? I like to look down on my work, not look up like architects. So that's there. So this is all set. So as far as the properties information is good. Now here, did you see this at the grids? You click that, right? Now pick one axis, right? Now you hold on the control button and you can go pick the other axis, or you can do it with a crossing as you wish, understand? Like I find it's faster to do it with a crossing. So, but just hold on the control button all the time, understand? So this way it keeps adding what you want. See, so now they're all highlighted. Is that what you have on your screen?
Anytime I click control, it like.
No, you hold on the control key.
Yeah, I know. Anytime it like brings up.
Okay, but first pick at least one and then hold down the control key.
Okay.
Pick one, pick axis one. Is it highlighted blue?
Okay. Well, yes, but then.
Then hold on the control button.
Yeah.
Now go pick the other ones. Now, once all your
If it
grid lines,
doesn't work, it keeps bringing up like cancel or properties and stuff, as if I like left clicked. I mean right clicked.
when you're holding on the control button, it brings up menus. And
Mhm.
is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
It's hard for me to know like what you have on, what you have, but so like, okay, so look, you see now I've deselected everything right now, okay? You have this check mark up here.
Yeah.
You have that on your menu, on your ribbon, a green check mark here.
Yeah.
That you have, okay? And here in the properties palette, you have the column that you want to start placing. Is that it?
Yeah, but I can change it if I want.
No, leave it like that. It's a 16 by 16 column that you have.
Yeah.
So leave that at. Now you're ready, okay? So now you're ready to, because we told you, like, okay, let me just escape, just to make sure we're on the right page. So we're gonna go back to columns. That's the column I want to place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you told them, first of all, you have vertical columns here.
Yeah. So if I go to column, it's the right one.
Then
Yeah,
you
it's
have-
vertical column.
And then you put, so make sure the vertical column is blue. And then
Yeah.
you have add the grid lines.
Yep.
Once you pick that icon, then the check mark comes up. That means it's going to ask you when you're finished to place your columns.
Uh-huh.
Now you pick one of the axes, like do a crossing like I'm doing, okay?
Okay.
Or like do this. Do a crossing like this. Are they all highlighted, your axes?
Yeah.
And just press the check mark. And all your columns are in.
Yep. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm sorry.
Okay, and then of course, go to your 3D view and you can see your columns nicely in 3D. Now
Yeah.
guys, I want you to appreciate, okay, when you were looking at these drawings and doing the AutoCAD, these columns are partly embedded in the wall. And that's why you only see that little part sticking out in the drawing, because that's exactly how it's supposed to be. So what I like about Revit, you see in 3D what the 2D graphic image was trying to show you. So here in the little corner, I only see a little corner sticking out in the graphics view. Well, that's because this column is mostly embedded in the wall. Here, half of it is embedded. Here, 3/4 of it is embedded in the wall. Here, half of it is embedded in the wall. So this is what you actually, this is what you would actually see once this wall would be built according to the information you showed on your drawings. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to 102. Okay. So basically, yes.
Could you do one more time that how you do the column 16 by 16?
Yeah, in other words, did you go to columns? Okay, go to the family columns. Go down here, pick a concrete, any concrete column here. I can't do it again because I don't want to create. So pick anyone here. Yeah, which one do you have, Jimmy?
Well, it also, there's only one option I can choose. It says W-shaped column.
No, it can't be. You got to have concrete columns. You don't have any concrete columns?
No.
Because look, these are W-shaped columns here. You don't have rectangular concrete columns?
No, there's nothing there.
You don't have anything there.
There's only one type. It's W-shaped column.
You only have W-shaped columns. So now what you're going to have to do, Jimmy, okay, you're going to go to the Insert button.
Okay, insert button.
You see where it says Families?
Insert button.
Insert tab. You see the Insert tab?
Yep, load family.
Go to Families. Okay, what do you have here on your screen? Because it's going to be different from my screen because we have totally different programs.
Well, it says generic.
Does it say Canada, US? Does it say anything like that?
No.
In other words, when you fly this out, you have under libraries, what do you have?
I have library, and then under library it has generic.
You don't have Canada, you don't have US.
No.
So you're going to have to load the whole family, Jimmy. And that's going to take me half the class to explain that to you. You're going to have to go to Autodesk, go into the libraries, take the libraries and upload it into your program.
Okay.
You understand?
Well,
Under generic, when you click generic, what do you have?
nothing there.
It's empty your folder?
Yeah, it's empty.
Where did you get this program, Jimmy? Because it doesn't make sense that some of the families aren't loaded.
Well, I downloaded from the Autodesk, the official site.
And which one did you download? Did you download the one from Canada or did you pick a different country?
From United States.
Then you should have the US one there, not Canada.
Well, I don't know. It says generic.
Well, I noticed that your Revit is in Chinese. So
No, it's I downloaded from United States, so it's all in English version.
You sure? Then how come when I looked at your Revit, it's in Chinese?
No, it's in English, I think.
I saw some Chinese writing in your Revit.
Really?
Yeah, so that's why you don't have the families, because you probably picked Chinese and it didn't load any of the families because it doesn't have any Chinese family.
No. Okay. I share my screen on English.
And that's something like I can tell you right now, what you did is going to be very difficult to correct. You know?
Well, I mean, it's all in English. There's nothing in Mandarin.
Okay, so you have no families whatsoever here. Because see, like here, for example, when I go here, I got columns. I can open this up, okay? I only have two types of columns. I have metal columns and so on. Okay, so this is where you have the families that, and you can keep just adding more and more structural columns. So this is where I can go and check and look for my concrete columns. You understand?
So you mean I have to go online and download a new
You
folder?
have to download the family, yes.
Okay, all right.
Otherwise, you won't be able, unless you make your own family. And that's where that family part of the program is.
All right.
So, you know, like, and Jimmy, I told you that instead of downloading the program, figure out a way to have access to -2H27, you wouldn't have this problem. Because you'd be able to use that program directly and it's got all the families in there.
Okay.
So right now, like, you know, like if you don't have the family, I'm not going to spend like an hour with you and the rest of the class to suffer because you didn't download the right program.
Well, it's 2020. Okay.
2020, but then at the same time, I'm sort of stuck with all this metric stuff. And when I want to go to Imperial, I have to go. I will show you in one or two classes how to download families from Autodesk, but that's not part of today's lecture. Understand?
Okay.
Under generic, what do you have in terms of type? You only have steel columns. You don't have concrete columns.
No, it's only W-shaped column.
Only W-shaped columns. So you have no concrete columns.
No, not at all.
So since you don't have that family in your library, you won't be able to put it into your model. You have to now download that family into your library. And then from
Okay.
your library, you have to download it into this file. And that's
All
what
right.
I was doing for you understand?
Mhm.
See here I have concrete square columns. I can download this one, you understand? And then I have that now in my, you understand? I have that now in my program, but you know, like you don't have it in your library, so it's hard for me to tell you where to go get it. So the families have to be in your library so that you can take it from the library and put it into your drawing file. So if you
So
don't
the
have a
family
library of those families, I can't do anything, Jimmy. I'm sorry.
okay, so a
So
family has
you're gonna follow the lecture. You're gonna have the video, and you'll be able to once you be able to download the family, be able to continue with your model. Understand?
okay.
Okay. So.
Mhm.
Okay, so sorry about that, guys. Like I said, you know, there's all kinds of glitches, but some of them I can resolve, but some of them, you know. Okay, so now we've put in the columns, we've put in the walls. Now we want to start putting in some foundations, okay? So let's start by putting in the footing underneath the wall, okay? So can anybody tell me, before you go and worry about putting the footing, the most important thing is the information. What is the size of the footing that we want to put underneath the wall? Can anybody tell me?
Well, there was the sheet from Simon 3 that had all the F1 to F5 column details.
No, I'm not talking about the ones under the column. I'm talking about the one under the wall. So if you have your drawing in front of you, you should be looking for that information. You guys actually drew the size of that footing in AutoCAD, and you should be able to find it here for your Revit drawing.
Yeah, well, it says it's gonna be a foot 8 inches. So on center, it's 4 inches on each side bigger.
Okay, no, I just want to know what size of footing we want to install. Is it 1 foot 8 inches? That's one piece of information. What else do you need to know?
It's 1 foot deep and 1 foot 8.
So in other words, 1 foot deep, 1 foot 8 inches wide. You need to have that information in order to tell Revit the type of footing you want to put in. Okay? Now, those of you that didn't find that information, I strongly suggest that you look at the drawing and see if you can find where that information is so that you can learn how to read a drawing properly. So right now we're going to be putting in a little strip footing. That's what you call footings underneath the walls. Strip footing that measure 1 foot 8 inches wide by 1 foot thick. So here under structures, I happen to have wall. You see that? And therefore I will click here. And of course I have two types here. I have one that I put under a retaining wall and one that I put under bearing under a regular wall. So I'm going to pick bearing footing. In other words, I'm not creating a retaining wall, I'm creating a bearing footing for the wall. And now, of course, that's not the type I want. So I'm going to go edit type. And since I'm never going to use this one, I'm simply going to rename it. And I'm going to variant, and here I'm going to put 1 foot 8 inches. So I remember what it is. And then I'm going to put 12 inches. So that's just the name. So when I go pick the type, I know what I've done. And then this is where I edit the information. So without that information, I can't go any further with this program. So right now here, I'm going to be putting 1 foot 8 inches. That's the width. Now for you guys that already have an imperial, you should still edit it to the right size by 12 inches.
Sorry, sir. What's the first thing you pressed to get the foundation? Did you go on the wall or did you go on something else?
Well, you got to go under foundation. You look at the under foundation, you see a little wall that has a little foundation underneath the wall. That's the icon you pick.
Yeah, I just found it. Thanks.
Okay. Then after that, you make sure you take bearing type, pick any one and go edit it.
Wait, so we click on slab?
Sir?
We click on slab?
No, it's not a slab. It's a footing. So let me start over.
I'm sorry.
No, I mean, like, guys, stop me. That's what I keep telling you. Stop me. I'm just assuming you guys are following. So, like, all of a sudden, I'm almost done. And then all of a sudden, you're telling me you're not even. So, stop me. Don't be shy, guys. You know, like, just interject and say, sir, stop. Let's go back a step. So, this way, we all pick up and move at the same speed. So, here we go. Structures tab. Here are the families, okay? This is a foundation. So therefore, it would be underneath this category. And then, of course, the family would be, see here, you have a little wall and shows like a little footing underneath the wall. And there, isn't that what you want? Yes, so I'm going to pick that. Has everybody got that?
Yeah.
So far, so good. Now here you got a number of choices. You got two choices. You can either have a retaining footing, which is totally different because I don't want to explain to you how you put a footing under a retaining wall. I can, okay? So you pick bearing. Now, of course, you want to make sure that the bearing footing has the size that you want. So you do edit type. Now, if you want to keep that type in your family, don't change it, just duplicate it. If you're never going to use it, just rename it. I renamed it and I called it 1 foot 8 by 12 inches. That's just a name. It doesn't change nothing. And this is where I changed the values of that type. In other words, the width is 1 foot 8 inches and the height is 12 inches. And then once I've edited that, I press OK. Now I've created the right type of what I want to put in my model. Okay? Now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a wall. Okay. I'm supposed to be at level 102. Always not level 102. Okay, so basically go back to footing. Okay, now if you've done this correctly, you should see here, select multiple. Does everybody see this here? Select multiple. If you don't, we got to go back and do it correctly. Everybody see select multiple here?
Yeah.
Who doesn't? Okay, so now if that's the case, pick one. So in other words, tell the program you're going to select multiple walls. So you pick one. Pick another one, pick another one, pick another one. For some reason, it doesn't want to pick that one. Okay, so here all of a sudden it says all this stuff, like for example, if I now look at my 3D view, okay, I see that I've got a footing. Okay, I got two footings here and I made a mistake. So I'm gonna have to go and correct that. I see my footing here in 3D. It's in my model. The only thing is that the view range of this view is not correctly adjusted, okay? And now I'm gonna show you how to adjust that if you wanna see this thing. So basically, I'm gonna go back to 102, okay? So I don't see nothing here because the element is outside the view range. Now I'm going to explain very quickly what view range is, and then you guys will have an idea of this. If I go back to a level 102 now, okay? And if I go to the properties palette here, okay, this is the view range. Now I'm going to click on the view range, and this tells me what the view range is. In other words, and if you want to know what the view range is, learn more, okay? This is view range. In other words, it tells you, depending on the settings in that, it tells you where the upper view is, the bottom one, the cut line, where it cuts the line. This is the view range to the bottom. So this explains to you what view range is all about, okay? Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to close this, okay? Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something else to adjust my view range. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here where it says underlay. See where it says underlay? Does everybody see underlay in the properties palette? Underlay.
Yep.
Okay, so here it says I have none. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify this. I'm going to say that the bottom is going to go all the way down to 86.33. And the top is going to be all the way up to 102. And then it all depends whether I want to look down or whether I want to look up. Do I want the program to project everything downwards, upwards? That makes no difference at this point. I'm going to say looking down. Fair enough? And once I've done that, you notice now I can start seeing, now it's grayed out here. Okay, it's grayed out here. So what you do here, at the bottom here, at the bottom of the screen, you have this little icon that you can actually pay. But you see, my lines are grayed out, okay? I see them, but they're grayed out. So how can I change that so that they're not grayed out? Well, I go to the, excuse me, I go to the manager tab. I go to the additional settings. Here where it says underlay halftones, and I just say do not apply the halftone. That's it. Okay, and now I see the lines no longer in halftones. Okay, so there you go, guys. Like I tell you, this program has a lot of information, and it has a lot of areas where you have to go either toggle something on, toggle something off, and it takes a while to get to know it. So now,
Excuse me, sir.
yes.
What did you click?
In other words, first of all, did you adjust your underlays?
No, the halftone. I'm on the halftone/underlay tab.
In other words, you got to go to level 102. You got to go in the properties palette here. You got to go to underlay. Go find where underlay is in the properties palette.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
And then here you put the bottom range. You go to the lowest one. Go to 102. That should be the highest one. We won't be doing anything over that. Now you want to look down. Once you've done that, you should start seeing the perimeter of your footing in a gray tone. Is that what you see, or is it in the dark tone?
Light.
A light tone. So now if you want to adjust that as a full dark tone, you go to the management tab here.
Yeah.
Go to additional settings.
Okay.
Click on that. And where you see halftone here, underlay, click on that. Just remove the check mark.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
There you go. Now, guys, you can also play around with the view range and adjust all the view range. It's up to you, but that's a very, very hard thing to start playing around with. I found that it's much easier just to adjust my underlay so I can see what I'm looking at, okay? So I do suggest if you have time, go into the view range, read about it, get to know about it, and so this way you understand what projected lines are, what cut lines are, okay? And that's something I strongly recommend that you take the time to explore on your own, okay? So far, so good. So now we've got the strip, we have the strip footing underneath the wall, which is nice, okay? Now, let's start putting the footings underneath the columns. Now, does everybody have a copy of the schedule for the footings of the columns? Yes or no?
Yep.
I do.
Okay, so now it's from that schedule that we will get the information how big to make each footing, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with the footing F1. Okay, so basically, I'm going to go to the Structures tab. Is everybody there?
Yeah.
Okay, so the category, of course, would be under Foundations, right? And this is the footing that you put underneath columns, correct? An isolated footing?
Yeah.
Everybody's okay there? So click on that. At least this is the category. Yeah, let's save the project. Okay, now it's a rectangular footing, 1800 by 1200 by, in other words, the length, the width, and the thickness. Is that what I want to put in my model? No. So therefore, I'm going to go create a type that I want to put in my model. I'm going to start with this because it's a concrete footing, right? And I'm going to put edit, like in other words, if you come here, you basically have only two types. So I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to edit the type. Okay. So basically, I'm never going to use this. So therefore, I won't even bother saving it. If I want to save something, I will rename it, keep that type, and create another type with it. If I don't use it, I'm just going to rename it and modify it. So in this case, I'm going to rename it, right? What am I going to call this footing, guys?
F5,
Pardon?
F5, or F1, whichever one.
Exactly, F1. Call it F1. So this way, when you're going to go tag it, it's going to put F1 right away. So what you're going to do is you're going to call it F1. So that's just a name. It's got nothing to do with the actual properties of this type. So I press OK. So what's the foundation thickness?
One foot 11 inches.
Okay, so it's 1 foot 11 inches. So I'm going to change this to 1 foot 11 inches. What's the width of the footing?
9 feet.
9 feet. What's the length of the footing?
9 feet again.
Exactly. So now I've got the right dimensions. So this way, that type is going to go in exactly that size. This way, if I want the program to calculate the amount of concrete that's in that footing, it will calculate exactly that volume. Okay? So I press OK. Now, where do I want to put these footings? Well, I want to put them with not the grid lines. I'm going to put them with the columns themselves. In other words, the program is going to take the column, is going to send to the footing right underneath the column. So I'm going to, in this case, I'm going to pick columns. It's a little bit easier. So this way I'm going to pick columns. And of course, I'm going to pick one column here. Now I can do this fast. I can do a window here like this. And it picks all the columns right away. So that's this, guys, the sooner you know how to use the pick by windows, pick by crossing, pick individually, or I could have picked one, held down the control button, pick the other one, pick the other one, pick the other one, pick the other one, pick the other one. Okay? I'm just showing you the faster way of doing this. Now that's exactly where I want my footings to be. If I'm happy, I go back up to where the green check mark is. I press check. And then it says all attached structural columns will be moved to the bottom of the column. Of course, that's where I want them. That's exactly where I want them. Okay. Okay, and there you go. Does everybody have those? Now, of course, if you look at the 3D view, there's all the footings underneath those columns. I'm going to go back to 102. Now, we'll worry about this after. You see all the hatching that you have on the surface here? I'll show you how to get rid of that afterwards, okay? Well, let's not worry about that right now. Now, guys, I did it for F1. I'm going to do one more time for F2, and then after that, you guys are going to do it for the rest of the footings on your own. So this way it'll be good practice. So in other words, I'm finished here. I press the check mark. Okay, do you want to exit? Yes. Okay, so now I'm done. So now that command is finished. I've got all my F1s already placed in my model. Now the next one I'm going to do is F2. So I go back to foundations, go to isolated footings. Now I'm going to start with F1. I'm going to edit the type. Now I'm going to edit it. Now I want to keep this type, so I will not rename it. I will duplicate it. Not rename, but duplicate. So I can keep all of that type and create another type with this information. So I will duplicate. And what will I name the other one? Well, I'm going to name it F2 because that's the one I'm going to be doing right now. I'm going to call it F2. Now, if I look at the schedule, what's the size of F2?
Eight foot by 8 foot by 1 foot and 10 inches.
Okay, so the thickness is 1 foot 10 inches. I'm going to change that. And the width is 8 feet. I'm going to change that. And the length is 8 feet. I'm going to change that. So once I've changed the dimensions, I'm ready to place it. So I press OK. And if I look at my drawing, where is F2 located? Would somebody tell me?
At D3.
Okay, D3, perfect. So in other words, first of all, I'm going to tell them I'm going to place it with the column here, by column. I'm going to go get the column at D3. And that's the only one I have. Do I have any more, or is there only one of them? If that's the only one I have to place, then I can tell the program simply finished. And of course, yes. Okay. Now, I did the F1, I did the F2. I'd like you guys to put in all your F3s, all your F4s, and all your F5s. Go ahead and do it. And while you're doing it, I'm going to do it on my own. And I won't go fast, so this way we'll see if you guys can handle it correctly. So try putting in your F3s, your F4s, and your F5s on your own. And I will not continue doing it on my own without explaining it. And if you have any problems, just jump in and we'll share your screen and we'll see what the glitch is.
Sir,
Yes.
I finished downloading my columns. Can you do one more time with the setting for 16 by 16?
In other words, how to create a 16 by 16 column?
Yes.
Okay, so you go to columns. You have a concrete column now? You have a concrete column here when you go to columns. Look at my screen. Here, do you have something made out of concrete? What do you have on your screen? I can't see your screen, Jimmy. You're going to have to talk. What do you have there? Or share your screen. I'm going to stop sharing this, share your screen. Show me what you have.
I didn't notice I'm muted. I have
Pardon?
concrete square column.
Concrete square column. And what else does it say?
12 by 12.
Good. Okay, so take that, press edit here. Press edit type. You have that? You see the menu pop up?
Yes, I do.
Now here, what you can do is you can keep that 12 by 12 and just duplicate it. So press duplicate.
Duplicate.
Now,
16.
give it another name. Give it 16 by 16. So this way you know that every time you're going to go into that family, that's going to be the type you'll be able to pick.
Okay. Got it.
So therefore, now all you got to do that, since it's a square column, see where it says B?
Yep.
Put the
Dimension.
value of 16 inches.
Okay.
And now you're ready to place your columns. Okay? So you press OK. Now you go here where it says add grid lines. See the grid lines?
Yep. Grid line.
Click that on. Click
Yep.
it on. Add grid lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then make a crossing of your grid lines. In other words, pick a point there and do this. It's going to pick all your grid lines at the same time.
Okay. Let me see. Sorry, could you do it one more time?
Start here, take a point, okay? And do this. Hold down your button and cross all the grid lines.
Okay.
They're all blue.
A grid. Yep.
Or
they're all
pick
blue.
one at a time, Jimmy, the way you want to do it. Pick one, hold the control button, pick the next one, pick the next one, pick the next one, as you wish. Just make
Yep.
sure they're all highlighted.
Yep. Yeah. I have color now.
You press the check mark.
Finished.
That's right.
Yes.
You have to press the finish.
Yes. I have columns now.
Okay, so you found your column family. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Now go and start putting in your footings.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so start putting in your footings and you have problems. Look, I'll do F3 measures 1'8". 1'8" by 7.5 feet. By 7.5. Okay. Add columns. So F3 is here. F3 is here. F3 is here. And F3 is there. Now, F4.
Sorry, sir. Completely
Yeah.
random question. Well, you showed us earlier how to color the walls, but I don't think I remember how to do it. Do you mind just showing me again for the footings?
Color the walls.
Well, just to put the material, like the material type, so you don't see through it.
The material type.
In-
Hold on, let me just finish this. I want to just finish my F4, if you don't mind, and then I'll see what you're talking about.
All right, sure.
1'7", because I'm almost there. I'm gonna 1'7", and this is 7 feet by 7 feet. Okay. Hold on a second. Just want to finish this one little F4 is here. F4 control is here. F4 is there. F4 is there. And F4 is there. F5, that's F5, F3, 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 F3. That's great. Okay, that's it. Finish. Okay, so what were you asking me? Again, please.
When I go in my 3D view, I'm
Oh,
seeing.
the 3D view. Okay, so I'll go to 3D view also. Okay, so what you're saying, that you want to be able to change the shading of this?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, you see here at the bottom, you see like a blue cube here, or do you see that?
Yeah.
See where it says visual style shading edges? Okay, click on that and you pull up the menu. So you can have wireframe.
Okay, so I do shaded to
So
have it.
choose whatever you like. You can have hidden lines. You can have shaded. Click through all of them till you get an idea of what each one can do for you. Understand? And then click constraint colors if you want. And of course, realistic. Which one do you like?
I
Choose
think
the
I
one you
like the
It's up to
shaded.
you because you're the one that's looking at the drawing, understand?
Thanks.
Sounds good?
Yep, thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, now back to 102. And last but not least, so guys, are you doing okay with those footings? Duplicate. This one's going to be F5. F5. 1.6. One foot 6.5 feet. Columns. Okay, so how are you guys doing? Okay? Having problems? Is it working out?
Sir, could you do one more time with the footing?
Which footing, Jimmy?
Well, any footing. I just want to know how can I construct a footing?
Okay, so I'm going to take one off. First of all, did you create the right type of footing?
No.
Okay, so for example, I'm not going to do it to my model. I'm just going to show you the steps, okay?
Okay.
So follow the steps here, Jimmy, okay? You're going to go to, are you on the structures tab?
Yes.
You see isolated footing here underneath isolated.
Yep.
So click on that. Now, do you click on that? Now, do you open up and drop down the menu? Okay. You see bearing and retaining wall when you pull down the menu. Bearing type or retaining type. Do you see that?
Wait a second. Well.
It's better that you show me your screen, Jimmy, so this way we can do it on your program. Because you know,
Okay.
like we're playing guessing games here.
True. When
I'm gonna stop sharing mine and I want you to share me yours. Share me your screen, okay?
Yep. I'm sharing my screen right now.
Stop. Let's start over, okay?
Okay.
So now you got all your columns in. Well, share me your screen. What'd you take it off for? Now I'm gonna ask to be able to request control permission, request, okay? Sounds good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now you can do it either from level 102, you can go down to 133. This way, if you do that, there's going to be less mistakes that are going to pop. Not mistakes, but less things that are going to show up. So this is the footing underneath columns. You see where I'm pointing?
No, I didn't see the mouth moving.
Here, this one.
Oh, okay.
So you need to load the family of footings. That's why you can't do it.
Okay.
You got to go to concrete. Now you go up. Concrete. Then you have rectangular. Okay, go up. Go up. Do you have foundations here?
Let me.
Foundations. Go to the foundations. You don't have any foundations. You have,
No.
do you have structures anywhere? Structural foundation. There you go. Okay.
Okay.
Footings rectangular. There you go. You see, Jimmy,
Oh.
this is where all your families are. Understand?
Yes. Okay.
Double click on that. Okay. Now you've got families in your file. You see?
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Now you can go. So that's what I'm saying. You're gonna have to load all your families.
Okay.
Okay. So now you can go in here and you do edit type. You understand?
And I change with the thickness, width, and length.
Well, first of all, I would just rename this. You'll never use this footing type. If you want to keep it, just duplicate it, right?
Oh, okay.
And then this you call F1.
F1. Oh,
One of us has to do it, not both of us, okay?
okay.
Okay, and then this is where you say put in the information.
All right. F1.
1 foot, 11 inches,
11 inches.
9 feet. Here, just put a 9, type in 9, and that's it. 9. That's it. Go to the next one. Click on the next one. 9, just 9. There. Click outside the box. There. Now it's done. So you've got the right. Press OK. Then you come here.
Column.
You want to install these at the columns. So you click this one, okay? And then you start picking the columns. So I'm going to pick these columns here with the window. And once I'm happy, I press finish. Now they're going to tell you that they're going to move them to the bottom, which makes sense. You say, okay, enter, finish, yes. And just escape, okay? And there you go. There's your footings. So now do that for F2, F3, F4, and F5. But do that at a later time. When you can always come back and do them, understand?
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay, so stop sharing. We're gonna go back. Now, ladies and gentlemen, okay? I hope you have some paper and I hope you have a pencil and a paper or a pen or something. Because the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing the step footing, and I want you, there's about 11 steps to remember, so I want you to write them down, otherwise you'll never remember how to do it, okay? So get yourself some paper, get yourself something to write on, and I want you to write down the steps somewhere and keep these because you're going to refer to it when you're going to be doing all the other step footings. So I'm going to go and, okay, those of you that haven't finished putting in the footings, well, do that as part of your homework this week, okay? Because I'm going to tell you, the only thing we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how to do the step footing, and then I'm going to expect you to do all the step footings for the next class. That's going to be your assignment. And I do recommend that you do it because I want you to keep up to speed with, and the step footing, I'm going to do it once, and I want you to write down the steps. I'm going to do it one more time after that, and then after that, I won't do it anymore, and you guys are going to have to do the step footing for the rest of this project, okay? Is everybody ready to do the step footing? If not, tell me now. Is everybody ready to write down the steps? Now, first of all, does anybody know where the step footing is? If you look at the drawing, where are the step footings? That's the first question.
It's on line 1, all the way in the bottom, next to the little room.
Well, it's not in the little room. It's right beside the little room on line
Yeah,
1.
right next to it. That's what I meant.
Where else do you see some step footings?
Line D before line 2, between 1 and 2.
Okay, and where else do you see steps footing?
On section EE, where there's the stairs.
Okay, I know, yeah, but where is that in the plan view?
Between the lines 2 and 3 on D.
Right, so there's another step footing there, and where else is there another step footing?
Between 4 and 5, also on D.
Exactly, and then there's one more step footing. Where is the last step footing that you guys haven't picked yet? I'll tell you where you should be looking. You should be looking between axis 2 and axis 3.
The stairs?
The wall that's on the parallel to axis D on the south elevation, okay? You have another step footing there, but that one you'll only be able to do once we put in that wall, so don't worry about it. So in this project, you have one step footing on axis 1, you have 1, 2, 3 step footings on axis D, and you have one step footing on the wall that is right beside the stairs. Now, those of you that don't see it, study your drawing. Start learning how to read drawings, guys, okay? If you still don't see it, I will point it to you on my drawing where they are, okay? So what we'll do is we will create, now, the location of the step footing is not critical in a project. So you can put it as long as it doesn't interfere with other elements of your project. So you should be putting it approximately where you want it to be built, okay? Because when they're going to be excavating, it's very difficult to excavate exactly the step that you want, and therefore they'll put it approximately there. So what we'll do is we are going to go and create the step footing that is, I don't know if you can see it, but we're going to go create the step footing that is on axis 1, right next to the wall of this elevator shaft pit here. Okay, so we're going to go creating that step footing there. In other words, we're going to be going from elevations 91 feet 4 inches down to 90 feet 4 inches down to 89 feet 4 inches down to 88 feet 4 inches. So in other words, we're going to be coming down 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot. And if you look at the detail of the typical step footing, they say that if you come down 1 foot, you should go out 2 feet. So you come down 1 foot, you're going to go out 2 feet. Come down 1 foot, you're going to go out 2 feet. That is the information you get from the typical step footing, right there, okay? So that's where you see that information. So first thing we're gonna do, of course, is if we wanna create the step footing on axis 1, which view should I be looking at? Does anybody have any idea?
West view?
Yeah, in other words, what view should I be looking at? I want to go create a step footing. I want to go create a step footing here. So what view should I be looking at in order to be able to create a step footing there?
West.
Exactly. In other words, I should look at the west view so I can see this whole thing and I can start drawing in the step footing in here. So I should go looking at the west view. Okay, so therefore, if I can either double click here on this and I can get to the west view, okay? Or I can go to the view browser and click on the west view. Now, if I come here, you'll notice that all this is starting to interfere with my model. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start pushing it out. Okay. And down here also, it seems to be a little cluttered. So I'm going to clean this up by so I can see the different elevations here. Just so that it's clear for me what I'm looking at, okay? So I'm just clearing up. And believe it or not, I'll show you how to turn these things off if ever you're doing your drawing, okay? Now, what's happening here, okay? What's happening here is that what I'm looking at right now, okay, is this is the outline of that foundation wall. Does everybody recognize what we're looking at here? This here is the bottom of the foundation wall, right here. This is the footing that's underneath the column that's on axis 1. This is the footing that's on the column on axis B, C, and so on. The reason why you see this one, that's the footing that's on the inside of the building. And it's all being projected in the elevation. This is the footing that's on the inside of the footing. These are the 3 footings that I see along axis D. That's why I see 3 lines here. So everything that would be in elevation gets projected into the view, okay? And of course, this line here is the little strip footing that we have placed underneath the wall. So this is what you should be able to relate to. And of course, these are the levels that we created. So the top of the wall here is at level 102. The bottom of the wall here is at level 91.33. Here, this footing here measures 1 foot. And these are exactly the footings that you created. So for example, this should be footing type F5. This is F5, and the one behind it should be F3. In other words, this is footing F3 back here, that's on axis D, and this should be footing F2, and that's why I see it, because it's all being projected onto the view of the elevation. So, okay, let me just, so now what's gonna happen is, I wanna create a step footing in this wall here, okay? And what I have to do is I'm going to have to, so first thing, so guys, write these step downs because I'm not gonna repeat them 100 times, write these step down. Okay, so what you're gonna do is, well, let me get out of this here first. So the first thing you do is you select the wall that you want to work with. So I'm gonna select the wall, that's step, so this is the wall that I wanna work with. So if you selected the right wall, it should be have a highlighted in blue. Now, once you selected the wall, you need to be able to split that wall so that you can change the depth of the wall. So what you're going to do is, let me get rid of this menu here, okay? Okay, so you hit the Modify tab, okay? Hit the Modify tab, hit the, and pick the wall, okay? And it should be on Modify Wall. Is that what you guys have? Is everybody okay? So I pick the wall here and I'm on Modified Wall. Does everybody have that?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to hear yes from everybody. So,
Yes.
okay, great. Now, what we're going to do is that we're going to have to split this wall. So we're going to have to go here, and this is the split element right there where I'm pointing at. Okay. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to pick this, okay. Save project, of course, okay. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom in a bit, okay. Now you'll notice that it starts here and I'm going to move along here, okay. Now, where do I want to split this wall? Well, it's not that critical where I split it because the step footing doesn't have an exact location. It has an approximate location. So I want to make sure that I split it so it doesn't interfere with the other walls. So I will put it at about, let's say I would put it here at about, okay, I'm going to split the wall about there. So like here I have 19 feet. I don't know if you guys have the same thing. The program has different ways from where it takes its reference point. And I'm going to split it up, split it at 19 feet. Oops, 18, 19. So now that wall has been split. In other words, this becomes one wall and that becomes another wall. Now I'm going to go there and I know that I should make my step footings 2 foot wide. Therefore, I'm going to move over by up to 2 feet. And then I'm going to split the wall again. And I need to split it one more time because I'm going to have 3 steps. And I'm going to move over another 2 feet. So now I press the escape button twice, I get out of that command. So now I split my wall how I want to create my step footing, okay? So now, here is the wall that's still unsplit. Here's the first element that I split. Here's the second one, and that's the third one right there. Now, what I'm going to do, okay, what I'm going to do is, excuse me, okay, I am going to make my life easier, okay, what I'm going to do is this footing here, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let me go back. So, okay. So now is everybody split the wall? I'm going to go back to level 102. I want to show you something. I know that this footing here right now should be down to this level here, 88 feet 4 inches. Okay. So the way I'm going to move this down here, I'm going to go back to 102. And I'm going to go to the column here, pick the column. Okay. And you see here where it says base level 9133 in the properties palette, I'm simply going to change that to elevation 8833. I'm going to say apply. And of course, it's going to tell me it's also going to be moving the footing, of course. Press OK. Now, all of a sudden, that footing has been moved down to that level. I'm going to go back to elevation, the west elevation, and you're going to see what happened. You see that footing is no longer there. It's exactly where it's supposed to be here. So that's how I modified that. So you see, with this program, you modify the information, it modifies the model. And that's why the information is key when it comes to Revit. So now I've got that footing at the right elevation. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the first element here, right? And I want to make it 1 foot lower. Now, I can either drag this down here by 1 foot, right? Or what I can do is go to the properties and say here, base offset. Since I want it to go down, it's a negative value. I'm simply going to say -1, and I'm going to say apply, and it's moved down by 1 foot. Then I'm going to go pick the other element here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go to the properties. I'm going to say offset. Well, now I want it to go down 2 feet. -2. Apply. And now it's down to 2 feet. Now this one here should be all the way down by 3 feet. So I can either do the offset again, or better yet, when I look at the base, okay, base constraint, I can do 2 things. I could put -3 feet here, or I can simply come here and change this to 8833, apply. I'm going to get the same results. So look what happened. Now, of course, does everybody see, hold on a second. Does everybody see the step that I created?
Yes.
Okay, so there is my step footing. Now what I have to do is actually go create the step footing, you understand? So now, once I split my wall, once I've adjusted the bottom of the wall where the steps are going to be, the next thing is you should delete that strip footing that you put in because it's no longer any good. So in other words, pick this element, sorry. So pick this, hold the control button, pick this, hold the control button, pick this, hold the control button, pick that, and say delete. Now, of course, you still see this. This is the footing that's on the other side of the wall. That's why you still see a footing there. But the footing on, this is the footing that is on axis 5, no longer on axis 1. That's why you still see a footing here, okay? So the one that's on axis 1 is completely gone. As a matter of fact, if I go to my 3D view, okay, you see there's no more footing here. It's all been erased. But what I'm seeing actually is this footing here in the elevation. That's why I still see a strip footing. So this one is completely gone, okay? I'm going to go back to my, I'm going to go back to the west view. Now, okay, so now this, so far, I don't know if you've written all this down, but I hope you did, okay? Now, what you're going to do is go to the structural tab, write down structural tab. So I'm going to go to structures tab. Is everybody there?
Sir, before you continue, just one thing. How did you erase the lines that were appearing on top?
How did I erase the lines where?
Because when I'm doing the base offset, there's lines that appear on top of the step footing.
When you're saying, it's hard for me to understand what you mean by lines on top of your step footing. Because I see so, you know, there's so many lines in this drawing. Which ones are you referring to?
It's okay. I found out how to take it off. So thanks.
Okay, Christopher, I'm glad you did. Like I said, you'd have to share your screen for me to be able to zoom in on what you're asking me to do, you understand? Okay, so now is everybody on the structures tab? Okay? So now, what you're gonna do is, you're gonna go to component here. Everybody, okay? And what you're gonna pull down the menu, and you're gonna say, I'm gonna be modeling in place. So I'm gonna model in place. Now, I want you to pan, or scroll down and go to structural foundations. This is just so that the computer knows under what category to put this modeling that you're doing under. So if ever you want to create a schedule, or if ever you want to do some estimating, it knows where to go get the information. So that's all this is. So put structural foundations, press OK. Now, leave that good. Structural foundations 1, or you can call it step footing 1, whatever you want, okay? Press OK. Now, once you've done that, okay, once you've done that, excuse me, what you need to do is you have to tell the computer what plane am I going to use in your model so I can do all the calculations? So what you're going to do is you're going to go and set a plane that the computer can use to do its calculation. So up here, you have set working plane. So you click that. And then on the screen, you're going to pick which plane that you want to work with. So I'm going to press pick a plane, okay. And right now, I'm going to be picking the wall. So the wall is a plane, and I'm going to tell the computer, do all your calculations from this plane. So now it's picked, so the computer now stored in its, whatever it is, logarithms, that the wall plane is going to be where it's going to be doing all its calculations and so on. So that's what the computer wants to know. After that, now, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an extrusion. So therefore, I'm going to come here at the right-hand side, and you see solid extrusion. So if everybody's there, you simply click on the icon. Now, all of a sudden, you have some drawing tools. So what they want you to do is they want you to draw the extrusion, the outline of the extrusion, so the program can actually extrude your step footing. So I'm going to be using this here, the line segment, okay? And I'm going to start drawing. So for example, I'm going to zoom in a bit, okay? In other words, my step footing starts here, right? And then it goes to the first part here, then it goes down to here, and I just draw the outline of where my step footing is going to be. I'm going to go all the way to this footing here. I'm going to go down a foot. Now here I know that I have 10 feet, so I'm going to move over to 11 feet 9 inches. I'm going to go up a foot. I'm going to go over 2 feet. I'm going to go up a foot. I'm going to go over 2 feet. So I'm just drawing the profile of what the step footing is supposed to look like. I'm going to go over to 1 foot. I'm going to go over to this here, and I'm going to close. So now I've told the program what's the profile of my step footing. Fair enough? Now, what you have to look at in the properties palette, okay? In the properties palette, so what I've done is I've drawn the profile. In the properties palette, look here where it says extrusion and extrusion starts, okay? And this is where when you pick that plane, the program is going to take that plane to do the calculations where the extrusion ends and where it starts. So you know that that footing is 4 inches this side of the wall, and it's 1 foot 4 inches on the other side of that plane that you picked, because the footing is 1 foot 8 inches. So therefore, what you're going to say is that where does the extrusion end? In other words, how much do you want it to come out of this plane? So here I'm going to be putting 4 inches. Oops. So in other words, I want it to end towards me, a positive value, because it's coming towards me along the axis 4 inches. And from the plane that I picked, I want it to go another foot 4 inches so I can have a total of 1 foot 8 inches. So it's going to end, it's going to start in the back of the wall at minus 1 foot 6 inches from the 1 foot 4 inches from that wall. So I'm going to put minus 1 foot minus 1 foot 4 inches, okay? I'm going to press apply. So now you're almost done, okay? So basically, you've told the program that start from here, come out 4, go over another 1 foot 4, I'll have a total of 1 foot 8 inches. Perfect. If you're happy, don't worry, if you make a mistake, you can delete or modify. Now you just press the check mark. And of course, if you're happy with what you see there, you press the finish model and you're done. Now you don't see much. If you go to your 3D view, there's your step footing. You see it? Hold on, just rotate this a bit. So there's a step footing. Isn't that nice? You guys like it?
Can you just do the whole extrusion part again, sir?
I'm going to do it one more time, and I'm going to do the one that's on this side of the wall.
All right, thanks.
Okay? Now, the nice thing about this is that once I've picked the wall as being my working plane, by default, it will always keep the end extrusion at -4 and the beginning at -1/4. So I never have to go back and change that value for all the other footings, as long as I pick my wall as being my working plane. Understand? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it one more time, but I'm going to do it for this side here. How's that? Okay. And then after that, okay, before I go back, okay, now, of course, now I'm going to go back and do something else. Let me go back to the west elevation. Now, remember that here I no longer have a footing. Remember, I deleted it because I deleted the whole footing. And here I no longer have a footing. So what I should do is I should be putting a footing in here, okay? And I will model that footing because instead of me going, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually model that footing in there. So I'm gonna use the same steps. The only difference is that I won't have to split the wall and I won't have to move things down because the footing is gonna be going right underneath here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna repeat this here, okay? So to put this footing back in, I will go back to structures, right? Go back to structure. So now I'm going to repeat. So here, I don't have to select an element and all that because I'm going to be putting my footing right in here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to structures. I'm going to go to component again, and I'm going to follow the same steps as I did when I created my step footing. I'm going to do model in place. Okay. Again, I'm doing a footing, so I'm going to categorize this under foundation structural footings. Okay, and it should be number 2, which is okay with me. Okay. Now, I am going to pick a working plane, and therefore I will set my working plane here, set a working plane, I will pick one, and of course I will pick the wall, because this way I will always use that, and therefore I don't have to change much in the properties palette. Now, once I've done that, I will go and tell the program
Which one did you set, sir? Sorry.
Pardon?
How did you set the working plane again? Just
When you press your set a working plane, you click here, then it says you can either pick one, or you can pick one, or you can put, this is the one that I've picked, you understand? But when you open this one, this is what you're gonna have, that radio button. So once you have that radio, you press OK, and you tell the program, no, this is the plane I want you to work with, the wall. And it's set. Now the program puts that, stores that in its logarithm, and it's ready to do the calculations.
I don't really have that when I choose it.
So when you put set a, first of all, this icon you have, set a working plane.
Yeah. Well.
And this is the menu that pops up.
Yeah. 1 second. When I go.
Now, where's the radio button in your menu?
My radio button?
Yeah, in other words, is it here, here, or here?
It's on pick a plane. It's on the second one.
So leave it there, press OK.
Okay, but I just got lost for a second. I had to cancel my my operation. Like what function did we go to before this?
Now
Sorry.
for this, you don't have to split the wall or anything. We're just going to be creating a footing.
Okay, so
here you're just going to be creating a footing. So in other words, I don't have to split the wall because the footing is right underneath that wall. So all I'm going to do here is create the footing underneath that wall. So I don't have to go and split the wall or anything. I will do that for the next step footing, but for this one, I'm just going to be creating a footing underneath the wall.
all right.
So you have that, you press OK. Did you pick the wall?
I'm still confused, sir. Sorry, like because whenever I try to pick that, it pops up something and like I can't do it. I don't know why.
Escape, get out of the command completely. Cancel the whole command.
Okay.
Always cancel the command. You're out of the command completely.
Yeah, I'm on the west view now.
Now you go to the structures tab. Are you on the structures tab?
Yeah.
Then you go to component. Are you on component?
Yeah.
So model in place.
Yeah.
Okay. Go down. You're going to do structural foundations.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now, number 2. Okay. Now you're going to set a working plane. So you're going to go to set here. And here it asks you, do you want to pick one? You can come here and choose one here, or you can pick one. So I'm going to pick one. I'm going to say, okay. And I'm going to go and highlight the wall. Now it picked the wall as a working plane.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. Thanks.
So now you've got the exterior wall as your working plane. It's easier for you to do your calculations in your head or give the information that the model needs. Once you've done that, you go to extrude. Okay. Now, here what you can do is, like, since it's a rectangle, you can use this drawing tool, the rectangle, right?
Well, sir, that's where I think there's the problem. I don't have the extrude option.
You have to have it. You have to be under the structures tab.
I am. I don't know why I don't have that. I'm on modify.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna cancel this. Because every time I cancel, I have to go back. Cancel. Yes. Okay. So you're on the structures tab. Okay.
Yep.
Model in place.
Exactly.
This is all done, right?
Yeah, everything up to there is fine. Just that after I choose the working plane, it says Revit cannot make this plane visible because it is not set.
Oh.
And then when I do click it, I don't have the extrude option. Like, it doesn't pop up in my ribbon up on the top.
So you don't have this in your program?
Oh, yeah, okay, I got it now. Sorry. I don't know why it wasn't popping up before.
Because if you don't do the model in place and you don't make your plane, it will not pop up.
All right.
It's only, this is why you have to follow the steps, because if you don't follow the steps, the menus will not pop up to be able to do the next step.
All right.
In other words, if you didn't pick up a working plane, that would never pop up.
No, I don't know why I was doing the exact same thing before, but it wasn't showing me extrude.
Okay, but now you got, so now you click here. Okay. Pick a working plane. Okay, so here. Cancel. I'm gonna have to start all over. Structures, components, model in place. Structural foundations, okay. Okay. Set a working plane, pick one, okay. Good, extrude. Now, like I said, since you're gonna be drawing a simple rectangle in here, what I recommend you do is you take this drawing tool, or you can go and draw each line segment. It's as you wish. So you can take this one or this one. I like to use that one. And you go from here and you go down to there. And of course, now I've drawn the profile of my extrusion. I press the green thing. And if I like it, nope, I drew it to the wrong side. I should have drawn it to this footing here. So I'm simply going to stretch it to there. Okay. So you see, like, I can make modifications before I stretch it to there. It should go to that footing there. I made a mistake before. Everything looks good. Sounds good. Press finish. And now, because I've used the same plane, I don't have to worry about the extrusions. And if I go look at my 3D view, now my footing is in there again. So now, guys, you do the same thing and put this footing in. to see if you got it right. So there is my footing. So try it on your own. That's the only way you're going to learn how to use the program. So for that, you don't have to split the wall or anything. We will simply okay, so basically I'm going to go back. I'm going to do it myself for myself, but I'm going to expect you guys to try it. West side. So okay, so let's go back. Structures, model in place, structural foundations, okay. Set a working plane, pick one, okay. Wall, extrusion, there. No, I took the wrong tool. Okay, it looks good. Finished. Let's see. Yeah, that's good. Go look at it in 3D. There we go. So everything's good. So now, and okay, is everybody okay? Is it working out? If it isn't, okay. Can you give me an idea if it's working or not, please? Okay, so guys, what you can do is you can review the video. If you missed a couple of steps, and then stop the video, try it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one more step footing on the south wall here, one more time with you. And then after that, we're going to basically like I'm gonna stay on, I'm gonna stop the recording because that's it. And then after that, I'm gonna expect you to be able to put the other step footings on this side and be able to put all the step footings in this wall. And I want you guys to do that for next week because you need to start practicing a bit, and that's the best way to do it. So I will expect, like for example, I will do the one more step footing in this wall here, and then I'm gonna expect you guys to do the step footings that are all the other step footings that are here. In other words, you will have a step footing between, actually, like you'll have a step footing somewhere in here, and you'll have a step footing right, I'm sorry, I should move this over. And you're gonna have a step footing in here, okay? So all I'm gonna do for you is I'm gonna adjust these footings right now to where they're supposed to be, okay? Because these ones are supposed to be down to elevation 98.33, and I'll show you how to do that afterwards. So remind me to do that before we leave, so I'll put those at the right elevations for you. This way it'll be easier for you to put your step footings, you'll know where to go in terms of creating the footing. Okay, so can anybody please, do me a favor? I'm gonna clear the drawing. And now, would everybody go to the south wall or the south elevation? In other words, go to your view browser and click on south and make sure you have 1, 2, 3 here. Is everybody there? So that we can repeat the step footing one more time.
Yep.
Yes.
Everybody there? Good? Okay. So now, like I said, write these steps down, guys, because it's hard. Like I've been doing it for a while, so I kind of know them already by heart, but sometimes you're gonna have to. So when you want to do a step footing, the first thing you do is you want to pick the element that you want to step down. So in this case here, I'm going to be picking, the wall. Sorry. So I pick the wall, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to split the wall. Okay. Now, like I said, where you split it, guys, it doesn't have to be exactly, okay? So you want to be able to make sure that you're away from that 10 feet, 10 feet 6. Let's go to about 12 feet. Yeah, that's good enough there, okay? So now that's split. Then I'm going to move this. I want to split exactly at 2 feet. And this I want to split at exactly 2 feet. These I do like to have them at 2 feet because that's what the step footing is, okay? So in theory, okay, so I split my wall. So I'm going to get out of this command by pressing the escape button twice. Okay, so now if I go back here, you'll notice that, oh shit. I'm sorry, I did the wrong thing. I'm going to go back and repeat. So I pick my wall, I'm going to split it. Stupid drag points. Okay, so now I split my wall. So here's one element, here's another element, and here's a third element. So now, this element here, of course, the bottom has to go here. So therefore, if I look at the properties palette, I can either offset it by -3 feet, or I can make the base constraint go down to elevation 8833, apply, and that's already down there, okay? Now, this one here, of course, is 2 feet below, and therefore I will simply take the bottom offset and lower it by 2 feet by putting minus 2 feet. Apply, and that's done. And the next one, of course, is only 1 foot, so I will take the bottom offset, go down to minus 1 foot, apply, and now it's done. So now I step down my wall. I will now hold the control button, take all the strip footings that I created here, right? And I will be deleting them, and they're gone. Now, like I said, the reason why you still see this one, this is the footing on the north wall, and that's why it's still there. Okay, so now, once I've done that, and I deleted my footing, I go to the Structures tab, and I tell the program that I want to do a modeling in place. And of course, they want to know where am I going to store this model that you're going to be making, and I like to store it under the structural foundations. Okay, now of course I'm up to 4 because I've created 1, 2, 3 on the west wall. Press OK. Once I've done that, I've got to tell the program where is the working plane that the program needs to do its calculation. So therefore I'm going to set a working plane. And I'm going to pick one, and I'm going to go, of course, pick the wall. So now if I ever go back to set the working plane, you're going to see that it's going to say foundation wall, and that's the correct one. Once I pick my working plane, I go ahead and tell the program that I want to extrude something. So I will go to the extrude command, extrusion. Okay. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom in so I can be a little bit closer. And I am going to start drawing the profile of my extrusion. In other words, if you guys know what an extrusion is that you kind of force things through a profile and you can extrude a piece, and that's the reason why they use the word extrusion. So therefore, my strip footing starts from, my step footing, I should say, starts from there, goes 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 up to this footing here. I've created too many steps, right? Guys, 88, 89, 90.
No, I think you're good, sir.
Pardon?
I think you're good, no?
Well, the problem is when I come back here, 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I understand. I have to go down to 1 foot here. I've got to go down to 1 foot here. I got to go here and go back a foot. So I have 5, 3. I'm going to go back to 4, 3. Go down 1 foot, go over 2 feet. So guys, you just have to be patient. 2 feet, go down to 1 foot. And go down here and go back to, anyways. And of course, go down to 1 foot, go here, and go up. So now I've basically drawn the profile. So therefore, if I'm happy with it, and guys, don't be afraid. If you made a mistake, you can you can erase something. As long as you don't press this check mark here, you can keep on drawing and going back and make any type of corrections. So that's good. Now, if that's the extrusion that I want, yes, then I go into the properties palette. Like I said, the program will always keep the last values. If you see right here, the program will always keep the last values that you put in. And since I've used the wall as my reference, my working plane, I don't have to change these now because they all have the same value. So therefore, that's okay. And if I'm happy with everything, well, I simply press finish and it should be done. And if I go look at it in 3D, there is a step footing on that side. Looks pretty decent. And that's it. So guys, what you need to do is, of course, for next week, right? You'll need to go and create the step footing in here, because there is a step footing between axes 2 and 3. Oh yeah, I was going to show you what to do. So go to, I want everybody to go to level 102, okay? Now, I know that, for example, I know that, excuse me, if I look at these two footings here, should be all the way down to elevation 89.33, okay? Because if I look at section EE on my drawing, that's where the level of those two footings are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this column here. I'm going to hold down the control button. I'm going to pick this column here. So I'm going to pick those two instances, because that's what they call them in Revit. And I'm going to go here and I'm going to look at the base offset. Right now, the base level is 91.33, but I want it to go down to 89.33. So therefore, I'm going to make the offset minus 2 feet. So here, I'm going to put a value of minus 2, apply. Yes, of course, I want you to move the columns. And of course, now what happens is that if I go back to the south elevation, okay, now those two footings are exactly where they're supposed to be. Now what you see here are the footings inside the building. That's what, but these are the footings that are on axis D, and now they're at the right elevation. So when you make your step footing, you're going to go down to here, and you're going to go down to this footing. Then you're going to be putting a footing in here, and you're going to be putting a footing in here, and then you're going to be creating the step footing in here, okay? So, any questions? So, I hope you guys find Revit a very complicated program, because it is. It's a very frustrating program because it is. There's a lot of stuff, and this is your first time at it, so don't get totally lost. I mean, with time, we will practice and it will become like anything else. So what I'd like you to do for next week is I'd like you to put in the step footing in here, of course, and then of course, finish putting the modeling the, whatchamacallit, the footing in here. And I'm going to, by next week, also have that step footing modeled in. I'm also going to have that footing modeled in, and then we're going to take it from there. So are you guys pretty well saturated for a day? So what I'm going to do is stop.
Wait, do we have an assignment for next week or no?
Well, yeah, I want you to do those step footings.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm just going to pause this just in case, okay?